ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतो वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। अखण्डं सच्चिदानन्दम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम्
अखण्डं सच्चिदानन्दम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम्
आत्मानमखिलाधारम् आश्रयेऽभीष्टसिद्धये।
आत्मानम् अखिलाधारम् आश्रयेऽभीष्टसिद्धये
अर्थतोऽप्यद्वयानन्दानतीतद्वैतभानतः
अर्थतोऽप्यद्वयानन्दानतीतद्वैतभानतः
गुरुनाराध्य वेदान्तसारं वक्ष्ये यथामति।
गुरूनाराध्य वेदान्तसारं वक्ष्ये यथामति।
अस्य अङ्गानि
अस्य अङ्गानि
यम नियम आसन
यम नियम आसन
प्राणायाम प्रत्याहार
प्राणायाम प्रत्याहार
धारणा ध्यान समाधयः
धारणा ध्यान समाधयः
तत्र
तत्र
अहिंसा सत्य अस्तेय
अहिंसा सत्य अस्तेय
ब्रह्मचर्य अपरिग्रहाः यमाः
ब्रह्मचर्य अपरिग्रहाः यमाः
शौच संतोष तपः
शौच संतोष तपः
स्वाध्याय ईश्वर प्रणिधानानि
स्वाध्याय ईश्वर प्रणिधानानि
नियमाः
नियमाः
अंगानि अष्टौ अंगानि अष्टांग योगस्य अष्ट अंगानि तानि साधनानि भवन्ति. These are helpful spiritual disciplines. When these disciplines are present in a person, that person we call in our term Veda sadhana chatushtaya sampannaha iti. Viveka vairagya samadhi shakta sampatti. All these are also understood. But here samadhi, the author taking up the thinking, the thought line of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, he presents. Though we can take this Ashtanga as a useful tool, but we don't accept that the philosophy. According to them, there are many Atmas. It's a Dvaita Darshana. And Prakriti and Purusha are real. So therefore, we don't accept the conclusion with regard to the Tattva, but the sadhanas are universal, that can be adopted. Therefore, Rangani, iti, the author presents, and what the author presents here in nothing but the Yoga Sutra. For first he says Yama. Already we have seen Yama and Niyama discussed elaborately with the help of Yoga Sutras itself. There are some commentaries, many commentaries in fact available on Yoga Sutra. Some of the commentaries I referred to in the previous class, though did not mention the name. The first is sadhana, Yamaha. Yamaha in the form of Nivritti Rupa, Nivritti Pradhana sadhanani. The disciplines in the form of don'ts, avoiding. So ahimsa, na himsa, and satya. Satya is one reading. Satyam is manasi chintanam vanyacha tata eva prakatanam. That is satyam. Satehe itam. Satyam. Yathartha vashanam. Satyam. But the same word satyam, ahimsa plus asatyam also possible. Savarna dirgha sandhi. Ahimsa satya is one way of reading it, or ahimsa asatyam. Why? Because the sadhanas are nivritti pradhana sadhanani. Himsa varjanam ahimsa. Similarly, asatyam is asatya varjanam, avoidance of speaking lies. So the focus is made on avoidance. Similarly, asteya, negative. Steya varjanam, avoidance of stealing, avoidance of himsa. So more on avoidance, avoiding. That is why it is nivritti, asteyam. Brahmacharya also we can interpret as maituna tyagaha, maituna varjanam. So avoidance. Aparigraha, of course it is mentioned. Parigraha, varjanam, aparigraha. Iti nivritti rupa, nivritti pradhana sadhanani. Kamya nishiddhi karmabhyaha yamanti iti नियमाः यमाः काम्य निषिद्ध कर्मभ्यः यमन्ति. The disciplines which will help a sadhaka to reduce the desire prompted activities, and of course to avoid completely the nishiddha karma, forbidden activities. These are yamaha. Kamya nishiddha karmabhyaha yamanti. Yamaha iti. Then, and we also saw what is the significance, what is the result, what are the results of following this. They're all in the form of a siddhis, given in the Yoga Sutra. Though we are not interested, but it is given. The Yoga Sutra, person follows the disciplines for a length of time. Ahimsa pratishtayam tat sanira vairattyagaha. There will not be any enmity for him, no enemies for him. Vairabhavasya tyagam kurvanti. Satya pratishtayam kriya pala shrayatvam. So kriya, in following satyam, यावत् सत्यं पालयति तदा योगिनः क्रियाफलदातृत्वं सिद्धं भवति. क्रियाफलदातृत्वं, क्रियाफल आश्रयत्वं. So that is the siddhi, satyayam pratishtayam. Kriyapala ashrayatvam. Kriyasu paladayitvam. He will get the status of being the dhayaka, the giver of the kriyapala. Asteya pratishtayam. The person is established in asteya, the sarva ratnopasthanam. He will get all the ratnani, upalabdhani. What ratna he requires when he has this quality, when he gets jnana. But anyway, that is ratnani, sarvani, ratnani, upalabdhani bhavanti. Brahmacharya pratishtayam virya labhaha. Apura samaratyam the person will get. Of course, it can be seen in the life of great saints like Swami Dayananda, Arya Samaj Dayananda, and other saints. Brahmacharya pratishtayam. Similarly, aparigrahastairye janmat katanta sambodhaha. Similarly, when the person is established in aparigraha, that person gets the knowledge of what he was in the Purvajanma. Purvajanmani aham kaha asam iti bodhaha, samyak bodhaha bhavati. All these are avantara palam. All these are thoughts. Side, they are the avantara palam. They are not the mukhya palam, avantara palam. Mukhya palam is this palam. Over siddhi, the person is not interested in the end. So these are all the byproducts. Similarly, Shaucha, Santosha, Tapaha, Svadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhanani, Niyamaha. You see, all these sentences are in subjective complement. And here, Niyamaha is Pravritti Pradhana, Sadhanani. Here, the emphasis on doing. In Yama, the emphasis on avoiding. Here, it is on doing. Shaucham, so Bhagya Shaucham, Antara Shaucham. Bhagya Shaucham in the form of Vak and Chitta, verbally as well as mentally. Shaucham. Santoshaha, contentment. Tapaha, Kaika tapas, Vachika tapas, Manasa tapas, that is tapas, spiritual austerities. Svadhyaya, Shastra Patanam, Parayam, etc. Shastra, that is Svadhyaya, Vedadhyayanam. Ishvara Pranidhanam, it is surrender to the Lord. In the language of Vedanta, it is Karma Yoga. Doing karma and offering unto the Lord the results of karma. Yat karoshi yadashnasi, yat jigoshi yadasiyat. Yat tapasyasi kaunteya tad kurushva madarpanam iti. Ishvara Pranidhanam. So it is surrender. Surrender to the Lord. Ishvara Pranidhanam. Or Ishvara Pranidhanam, we also defined by the Yoga Shastra, repetition of the mantra Omkara, or meditation on the Lord. So therefore it is for a Vedantic seeker. So it is emphasis on Pranidhanam. When we say surrender, means a bhakti is what type of bhakti? It is bhakti for knowing the Lord. Therefore it is the word Ishvara Pranidhanam, surrender, when you say that the person should be a bhakta. What type of bhakta? It's a jignasa bhakta. He wants to know the Lord. So for that, whatever is required, the sadhana is, that he undertakes and do. And having known everything happens by the will of the Lord, and knowing his limitedness, therefore surrenders, like Arjuna surrendered to the Lord. Jignasa bhakti, that is a bhakti. So Ishvara Pranidhanam. So it is Bhagavan what you seek, therefore you surrender. It is Bhagavan you want to know, therefore you surrender to knowing the Lord. Therefore, sticking to the means of knowing the Lord, surrender to the Shastram, surrender to the Guru, Ishvara Pranidhanam. Ishvara Pranidhanani. And in the Yoga's Shastram, yes, Tapaswadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani. These all these three together is called Kriya Yoga. Tapaswadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. Kriyate ya sa kriya. Kriyate ya sa kriya. That which is done, that is kriya. Then kriya yoga. Kriyayaha yoga. Kriya cha also yoga, kriya yoga. Karmadharya, it is better. Kriya yoga. These three put together is called kriya yoga. So this tapaswadhyayaha, tapaha is dvandva sahanam, swadhyayaha, moksha shastra adhyayanam, moksha shastranam adhyayanam, and Ishvara Pranidhanam. Ishvare sarvasam kriyanam arpanam karma yoga. This put together is called kriya yoga. Whether you call kriya yoga or karma yoga, whatever. This is called kriya yoga. So all these put together form the discipline niyamaha. Nitya naimittika karmasu niyamanti iti niyamaha. So niyamaha, it is more emphasis more on doing. So it makes a person do nitya naimittika karma. Avoidance from kamya nishiddha karma is yama. So these are the sadhana. The niyama and niyama. Then after that, these two are Bhagiranga sadhana. We are talking about the samadhi abhyasa rupa nididhyasanam. In this Vedantasara, we talk about samadhi abhyasa. But by samadhi here also it's included. The author talked about savikalpa, nirvikalpa. Samadhi abhyasa rupa nididhyasanam. After shamanam, mananam, the nididhyasanam, and nididhyasanam is done following the steps of Ashtanga Yoga. And the sadhanani among the 8, these two, Yamaha and Niyamaha, are Bhagiranga sadhanani. These sadhanas have to be taken up before you sit for meditation, before you sit for doing samadhi abhyasa parididhyasanam. Now antaranga sadhanani, the author is going to present. That comes, next one is, as in the Ashtanga Yoga, next one is asanam. It is asanam. So asanam, asanam is in the Yoga Sutra, it is discussed. Stira Sukham Asanam. We will see that. Let us read this. Karacharanadi Samsthana Vishesha Lakshanani.
करचरणादि
करचरणादि
संस्थान
संस्थान
विशेष
विशेष
लक्षणानि
लक्षणानि
Padma Svastikadini Asanani.
पद्म
पद्मस्वस्तिकादीनि
स्वस्तिकादीनि
आसनानि
आसनानि
Padmasanani. Padmasanam. Swastikasanam. Padma Swastikadini Asanani. Asanam. Asana means seat or posture. Asanam is seat or posture. Both meanings are possible. Asyate asminiti asanam. Asyate anena iti api asanam. Asyate asminiti asanam. Where one sits. That is seat. The seat is asanam. Where one sits. Asyate anena iti. That is also asanam. Asyate. That the manner by which one sits is called asanam. It means posture. Both meanings are possible. So, with regard to the place where one sits and does meditation, Bhagavan says that place should be clean, be neat and clean. You can sit in a place or go to a place where there is no disturbances, free from disturbances, and the place should be clean. The right kind of the asana, the meditation seat, should be chosen. Should not be that asana also should not be placed at eye level or too low. So in the Gita, Bhagavan says, Sucho deshe pratisthapya stiram asanam atmanaha natyuchitam natinecham chailajina kushottaram tatre kagram manakratva yathachittendriya kriyaha pavishyasane yunjyat yogam atma vishuddhaye. Very clearly said it is performed for atma vishuddhaye and tat karna shuddhaye. So, Sucho Deshe Pratishtapya, having placed the seat in a clean place, the asanam should be firm. The asanam should be very firm. Should not be too high, not too chitam, not in nicham. Should not be too low. Chaila Ajina Kushottaram. Chaila Ajina Kushottaram. The seat should be made of a piece of soft cloth, then Ajina skin, and Kusha, grass mat. In the reverse order, Chaila Ajina Kushottaram. First is Chaila over that Ajina over that grass to be placed in a clean place. So Kusha grass covered by skin, on the top of it there's a cloth. So the Kusha grass is soft, and the skin, deer skin, etc., they provides insulation. And the cloth on the top makes the asana comfortable. That is the idea. So otherwise, all the time the focus will be on the asana. So therefore, asana signifies how one sits in meditation. And there are many postures: Padmasana, lotus posture, or Vajrasana, or as it said here, Swastikasana, whatever asana, different postures. Different postures are there which we can select any one to our comfort, which helps us to that asana. Sitting in asana, we can sit in that asana comfortably. So that asana which help us to maintain a steady position, sitting correctly. That is the first step. So asana we can choose stirams, Stira Sukham Asanam. Patanjali Yoga Sutra says, Stiram Sukham Asanam. The asanas should be stira, should be firm, steady, and sukham, comfortable also. Stiram cha sukham cha stira sukham. Asanam. So the asana should be like that. Asyate upavishyate asminiti asanam. Nischalataya sukhapurvakam cha yat upaveshanam bhavati tat asanam iti katyate. So the asanam. Then how to sit on the asanam? That also said samam kaya shiro grivam. Dharayana chalam stiraha sampreksha nasikagram svam dishashchana avalokayan. Everything is covered in the asana. So the 26th chapter of the Gita is very important. So samam kaya shiro givam. Stiram, first is asanam, stira sukha asanam, comfortable and steady. Then the body and the head. Only when the asana is steady, then only person can keep the body, the head and the neck in a straight line. Dharagim na achalam, dharagim na chalam stiraha. The body must be steady and not moving. The body is steady, the mind also can be steady. The body is moving. Some people sit with the legs always shaking. It means the mind is disturbed. So the body posture indicates the condition of the mind. The body and the mind are connected. So as the body position, so the mind also. So therefore, Patanjali says that posture must be steady. So that mind also is steady. The body, the head and the neck are in a straight line and alignment with the spinal cord. So that when we meditate, the body is not a source of disturbance. It is comfortable and steady. That is asanam. So kara-charana-adi. Kara-charana. Kara is and charana, pada. Kara-charana-adi. Adipada, the other limbs of the body. Samsthana Vishesha means samsyak sthanam, sthitam. Samyak sthanam, the posture, particular posture. Samsthana Vishesha, particular. Lakshanani. Vishesha Lakshanani Yesham Tani Asanani. Karacharanadi Samsthana Vishesha Lakshanani Yesham Tani Asanani. The Asanani. A compound, Bhuri compound. So the limbs of the body, they are the limbs of the body are held in a particular posture, characterized by a particular position or posture. So asana is qualified by, characterized by particular positioning of the karacharana, etc., the limbs of the body. That is called asana. Udaharanam, Padmasanam, Swastikasanam, Siddhasanam, ityadi. Iti asanani. So after asanam comes pranayamaha. So after asanam, then immediately we will not get into meditation. So next comes pranayamaha. Let us read. What is pranayama? Rechaka, Puraka, Kumbhaka, Lakshanaha.
Rechaka, Puraka, Kumbhaka, Lakshanaha.
Prana Nigraha. It is prana, not prana adnigraha. It is prana nigraha. The typo. Prana nigraha upayaha.
Prana Nigraha Upayaha.
Pranayama. Pranayamaha.
Pranayama.
Pranayama. That is fine. Pranasya ayamaha. Pranayamaha. Pranasya ayamaha. Pranayamaha. Tasmin sati shvasa रश्वास योगो गति विच्छेदः प्राणायामः योग सूत्र. So pranayamah pranasya ayamah, regulation of breathing. Breathing out is called prana. Breathing in is called apana. Breathing out and breathing in. The Gita, we saw in the 4th chapter of the Gita, one of the 12 Vajnas, that Bhagavan used these words, prana, apana, iti. It's called pranayama. It's called pranayama yajna. Apane jugvati pranam, prane panam tata pare, pranapana gati rudva, pranayama parayanaha. One type of this yajna, pranayama yajna. Prana ayama yajna, regulation of breathing. It's a sadhana. So those who are committed to the practice of pranayama, regulation of breath, they look upon the pranayama. Pranam apane jugvati. They offer the outgoing breath into the incoming breath, and the incoming breath into the outgoing breath. Pranayama, pranapana gati rudva, stopping the flow of prana and apana. They are committed to it. Means stopping means regulation. Therefore, they are committed to regulation of prana, because prana and the mind are connected. So in the meditation, there is no physical activity, there is more of mental activity. Therefore, the mind should be available completely. Therefore, since mind and prana are connected, therefore, prana is regulated as a preparation for the mind, for preparing the mind. The mind has to be calm and steady. Therefore, pranayama is important. Without pranayama, there is no sankalpa, there is no puja, in fact. All the puja invariably after achamanam, pranayama is every Gayatri. Before performing Gayatri, japa, achamanam followed by pranayama. Pranayama, it is not just touching the nose. It is inhaling, exhaling, chanting the Gayatri mantra, Gayatri, it should be done. And the beauty here is pranayama, this breathing is something which is voluntary as well as involuntary. Other activities, most of the activities are involuntary. The lungs do not, the lungs over which lungs or heartbeats, they are involuntary. We cannot choose to stop or choose to make it act. They are involuntary. It happens, semi-digestion. Some actions are voluntary, and whereas the movement of the limbs, external limbs, that is under our control. Whereas pranayama is the prana, it is not completely involuntary. We have control over it. It is of course, it is both voluntary as well as involuntary. Similarly, the thoughts also, vritti also, some thoughts are involuntary. Without our will, it comes because of samskara. Some thoughts we deliberately entertain. In the seat of meditation, we deliberately entertain thought. So, therefore, the thoughts and the prana, they are both voluntary and involuntary. So this voluntary, because it is voluntary, therefore we can exercise our control on it. The thoughts and the mind and the prana. That's why regulation of breath is possible. There is no regulation of heartbeat. There is no regulation of digestion. What we take up to the mouth only, we have control. We can take the food up to the mouth. After that, actions happens. Without our will, it happens. So, whereas prana, over prana, we have some control. We can exercise, we can upon prana. Similarly, thoughts also. In fact, thoughts, the mind and the prana are connected. Therefore, mastery over prana will be mastery over mind. That is why before meditation, in meditation you are dealing with your mind. Therefore, pranayama is important. Without pranayama, meditation is not started. It is not possible. Therefore, pranayama and the method of prana nigraha upayaha, prana nigraha, breath control. It is regulation instead of control. Nigraha, regulation of the prana. The method is presented here as rechaka, kumbhaka, rechaka, puraka, kumbhaka. Rechaka means from the dhatu, rich dhatu. Rechaka. Rich means to empty. Rikta hastam, we say. Rikta hastam na gache. One should not visit the king or the guru with an empty hand. Rikta hastam na gache. It's rich dhatu. Rechaka. Rich plus null. Rechaka. Rechaka means emptying out. Puraka is pu, pur dhatu. Pu, fill, to fill in. Pu, pru dhatu. Pru dhatu become pur, not pru. Pru, purane. So pru become ritaha iddhatoho, the next sutra. Dostya purvoho. Therefore become pur. Pur plus again null. Puraka. Puraka is filling. Kumbhaka is holding, stopping. So deliberately and slowly inhaling is puraka. So there is some deliberation. Similarly, deliberately holding that is rechaka. Deliberately holding in it and retaining it. Inhaling is puraka. Deliberately, slowly inhaling is puraka. And deliberately retaining it is kumbhaka. And puraka is filling in. Puraka is puran, filling in. And rechaka is emptying out. So deliberately emptying out, it is rechaka. So this can be done in a way so that one gains mastery over breathing. So when the breath is steady, the mind is steady. So that is the kind of control we try to have through pranayama. Tasmin sati shvasa prashvasa yogo gati vichhedaha. Yoga Sutra. Shvasaha, prashvasaha. Shvasaha is shvasa, shvas, pranane, from the dhatu, gai pratyaya. Shvasa, similarly prashvasa. So, udasya vayoho nissaranam bhagissaranam is prashvasaha. So, prashvasaha. So, shvasaha is inhaling. So, tayogo gati vichhedaha. The movement of that shvasa, prashvasa yogo gatihi. Viramaha. Viramaha, gatihi, viramaha. That is pranayamaha. So, asane dade sati. Shvasasya, prashvasasya cha gatehi vichhedaha sthirikaranam. Making the prana steady. That is called pranayamaha. Pranasya ayamaha. And there is another thing also is by that prana becomes steady, like in Vipassana, prana vikshanam, watching one's breath, seated in a steady posture and watching the breath, observing the breath without any interference. Without any interference, observing the breath. That also helps in regulating the prana. So therefore, the pranayama. Why pranayama? Because pranayama, as we know, among the kosha, what we are seeing in Panchadashi also. Annamaya, then Pranamaya, then Manomaya. In the order also, the Pranayama is in between. So therefore, if by Pranayama, if Pranamaya is regulated, is controlled, then Manomaya also will be regulated. In fact, since Pranamaya is in between, therefore it will have impact on both Annamaya as well as Manomaya also. So therefore, the Pranayama, physical health as well as mental health. And that Pranasya Nigraha, Upayaha, Rechakam, the form of Rechaka, Puraka, and Kumbhaka. Rechaka emptying the lens by breathing out. Puraka filling. And Kumbhaka retaining. And Kumbhaka can be either Bhagya Kumbhaka or Antara Kumbhaka. Holding the breath inside after breathing in. That is Antara Kumbhakam. Similarly, after breathing out, retaining the position, not inhaling. That is Bhagya Kumbhaka. These are the Nigraha, Prana Nigraha. Depending on what dominates, the Pranayama can be Rechaka Pranayama or Puraka or Kumbhaka Pranayama. There are many types of Pranayama. So that is the idea of Pranayama, ultimately for regulation of breath. It is not stopping the breath, regulating the breath. Then after Pranayama, then comes the Pratyahara. Same sequence as in the Yoga Sutra. This also comes under Antaranga Sadhanam. Pranayama followed by Pratyahara. Let us read. Indriyanam swaswa vishayebhyaha.
Indriyanam svasvavishayebhyah
Pratyaharanam pratyaharaha.
Pratyaharanam pratyaharaha
Indriyanam swasva vishayebhyaha. Swasva vishayebhyaha. From its vishayas, from their respective objects. Swasva vishayebhyaha indriyanam prati aharanam ridatu apurvaka. Prati apurvaka. Preceded by prati. Two upasargas are there. Ridatu. Ridatu. The example, in fact, we give for upasarga. Ahara, prahara, samhara, vihara, prati. Yet pratyahara. Preceded by the upasargas prati and a. Then haranam lit pratyah. Pratyaharanam, it's called pratyaharaha. So pratyaharaha. Pratyaharaha prati a upasargo purvakau hridatoka ghani pratyaha. Indriyani svasva vishayebhyaha vimukam. Ahriyante asminiti pratyaharaha. Ahriyante iti pratyaharaha. Withdrawal of the sense organs from the respective field of the respective fields, the respective objects. The sense organs and prana they are connected. The sense only when backed up by prana, sense organs function. So sense organs are prana is relatively external. Sense organs internal. Sense organs referring to both Jnanendriyani and Karmendriyani. So Karmendriyani also, Jnanendriyani, Karmendriyani. Swasva Vishayebhyaha, Panchami. From that, Panchami Vibhakti. Pratyaharanam, withdrawal. That is called Pratyaharaha. So Pratyaharaha, withdrawal. The sense organs really do not travel towards the objects. What travels? It is a mind. It is a mind which draws the attention of the sense organs to the objects. So, without mind, without backed up by mind, there cannot be there cannot be the perception of sense objects. And the mind also will be active functioning only when it is energized by prana. So all are connected. So prana, then supported by prana, mind functions, supported by mind, indriyani functions. So that is in the order. So prana, then we go to the indriya. Paranchikani vitat swayam parang pashyati nantaratman. Because the sense organs are scattered all over. The mind, and it means the mind is scattered all over. So when the mind is scattered all over, meditation is not possible. Therefore, sense organs are withdrawn. Sense organs are naturally made extrovert. So it should be withdrawn, withdrawing the sense organs. That is pratyahara. The mind distracted by sense organs. Why? Because of the purva vasana samskaras. Because of the purva, that is how the mind is. The mind, untrained mind, unprepared mind, easily carried over by sense organs. Mind is also, it is vikshepa, it is scattered, and sense organs also are generally outflowing. Therefore, wherever the mind goes, sense organ goes, or where the sense organs goes, mind goes. So both of them follow each other. So therefore, both have to be mastered. So first it starts with mastery over the sense organs. Nikita Bhagavan says, Yato yato nischarati manaschanchala vastiram tatastato niyam yetat atmaniya vasham nayet. How to deal with the mind with just such distraction. So the yogi should bring his mind under the control of himself by restraining it from all that which are all those causes. From all those causes, because of which there is restlessness, because of which there is unsteadiness of the mind. Therefore, should withdraw from all those causes. Yato yato nischarati. Yato yato nischarati. Kaha kim manaha. Manaha, which is achanchalam. In the 6th chapter, 26th shloka, if I remember correctly. So we saw Yato yato nischarati manaschanchalam astiram. Manaha is chanchalam, it is astiram. That is how the mind is. Chanchalatmakam manaha. That we define manaha is chanchalatmakam. Chanchalatmakam manaha. And this manaha yato yato nischarati. For whatever the reason the mind goes, then you have to bring it back. Tatastato niyam yetat atmani, in oneself. May the yogi bring the mind vasham nayet, atmani vasham nayet, bring under the fold of himself by restraining from that which causes distraction. So there are different methods by which this can be achieved. One is seeing the dosha darshanam, seeing the defect in the seeing the defect in the perception of those objects, the sense organs, when it travels external. So it perceives objects. So seeing defects in the objects. Dosha darshanam. Vishayeshu dosha darshanam. Swasva vishaya. It is the sense organs move towards the vishaya. So seeing the defects in the vishaya, in the objects, that is dosha darshanam. In fact, that is what is called vairagya. By dosha darshanam, person sadhaka develops vairagya. That is why abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. When Arjuna asks, again the same chapter, 6th chapter, chanchalam hi mana krishtam pramati bhalavadridam. Tasyaham nigraham manya vayoriva sudushkaram. It is like vayu. It is impossible to control the mind as we can't control the wind. Father Bhagavan says, yes, it is true. Asamshayam mahabaho. Manaha dur nigraham. Yadyapi durnigram, but it is possible. It is not impossible. It is possible. How? Abhyasena, by practice, number one. Second one is vairagyam. Vairagyam is dosha darshanam. Vishayeshu dosha darshanam. The more and more the vairagya is, the more and more the mind will be withdrawn. So by developing pratipaksha bhavana, the mind assumes the opposite. The mind assumes the opposite position. Therefore, the mind which runs out because of some attraction, now when it sees the defects, naturally it will be withdrawn. So when it understands the sense pleasures, what the Vishayas gives are temporary or transient, it is fleeting, then understanding that it will come back. Vairagya. So naturally it is withdrawn. So abhyasaha and vairagya. So by that, the mind can be withdrawn. Swasva Vishaya asamprayoge chitta swarupa anukara iva indriyanam pratyaharaha. Yoga Sutra. Sadhana Pada, 54th Sutra. Patanjali says, Swasva Vishaya asamprayoge. Swasva Vishaya is respective Vishayas. Respective Vishaya of the respective organs, sense organs. Chaksharadinam, Indriyanam, Vishayagi Saha. Vishayagi Saha, Sanyogaha is natural. That is, Sanyoga of the Indriya with the Indriya Vishaya is natural. But Asamprayoge, Samprayoga means Sambandasya Abhavaha. That is what here the author says. Swasva Vishayebhyaha Pratyaharanam, withdrawal. There should not be yoga, there should not be samanda of the Vishaya and the Indriyas. Vishayani and Vishayaha and Indriyan. Between them, there should not be sambandha. It means they should be disconnected. Swasva Vishaya asamprayoge. Samprayogaha, na samprayogaha, asamprayogaha. Asamprayoga means asambandaha. Don't establish any sambandha between the Indriyas and the Vishaya. Indriyanam Swasva Vishaya asamprayoge. Then what happens? Chitta Swarupa Anukaraha. Chittasya Swarupaha Anukaraha. Chitta Swarupa Anukaraha iva Pratyagaraha bhavati. That is, Chittasya Swarupam iva vartante. So, when the Indriyas and the sense organs between them, yada abhavaha, sambandasya abhavaha jayate. Tata tani indriyani the chittasya swarupam iva vartante. Swarupam iva vartante tada sthitihi pratyaharaha iti katyate. That is, the mind will not be distracted. It will be steady. So, when the indriyas are withdrawn, when the indriyas are not connected, when they do not have sambandha with the Vishya, then what will be the Indriya? Indriya will be in its place. It will be quiet and calm. Similarly, the mind also. Chitta Swarupa Anukaraha iva Indriyanam Pratyaharaha. So Anukaraha is in keeping with Chittasya Swarupam, Chitta Swarupa Anukaraha. Indriyanam iva, like the Indriya. That is called Pratyaharaha. When the Indriyas are withdrawn from the Vishaya, when it is in the respective places, it will remain quiet and calm. So then mind also will be like the Indriyas. It will be Chittasya Swarupaha Indriyanam iva. Chittas Swarupa Anukaraha Indriyanam iva. The mind also will be relatively quite calm because there are no more distracting factors. Main distracting factors is Indriya. So Indriyas alone take away the mind. So when the Indriyas are withdrawn, that is why Shama and Dhamma we emphasize. Shama is Yama is mastery over the sense organ to start with, then later mastery over the mind. So that is pratyaharanam indriyanam swasva vishayebhyaha. After pratyahara, then comes dharana. Dharana is Strilinga Shabda. Drinj, dharane. How do you get then dharana? Nijantarupam. Nich pratyaya. Then yuch, then yuch pratyaya, then get dharana. Akaranta Strilinga Shabda. Dharana. What is dharana? Let us read. The Yoga Sutra, it is different. Sutra is different. Here the author, he presents from the standpoint of Advaita. Advitiya vastuni
Advitiya vastuni
antarindriya dharanam dharana.
Antarindriya
Dharanam dharana.
dharana.
The same steps, but the definitions are different. Because Yoga Sutra is more, it is there, the philosophy, their darshanam itself, it's a separate darshanam, Dvaita darshanam. Whereas here we are taking only the steps. Therefore, we cannot, therefore the sutras are modified. In the Yoga Sutra, it is Desha Sambandha Chittasya Dharana. That is the definition, Dharana. But here, Advitiya Vastuni, Antarindriya Dharanam. Why Bahirindriya not there? Bahirindriya already withdrawn. That is what Pratyahara is. Pratyahara is withdrawal of the external sense organs. Dharana is the after Antarindriya. Antarindriya is what is Antarindriya? It is mind. Bhagya Indriya is Indriyani. Chakshuradini Indriyani. Antarindriyam is only one. Not many. There is no Antarindriyani. Antarindriyam. Antakaranam. Therefore, Antarindriyasya Dharanam. That is Antakaranasya Dharanam. Kutra, Kasmin. Kasmin Stale, Kasmin Vishaye. Advitiya Vastuni. That is Dharanam. Therefore, after Pratyahara comes Dharanam, concentrating upon the object of meditation. An object of meditation here is Advitiya Vastu, Brahma. Whereas in the Yoga Shastra, it is concentration of the mind on a particular place of the body. Desha Bandhaha, Chittasya Dharana. Desha Bandhaha, Chittasya Desha Bandhaha, Chittasya Manasaha. Sharirasya Kasminchit Bhage Sthapanam, placing the mind on some part of the body, focusing the mind on some part of the body. They talk about different chakras, etc. So placing the mind on that. So that is dharana. That is in the Yoga Sutra. But here we say it is Advitiya Vastu Brahma. So dharanam, antarindriya dharanam, fixing the mind, placing the mind on the object of meditation. That is dharanam. The object of meditation can itself be dharana. The object of meditation must be something over which you have bhakti, devotion. You cannot have dharana on that over which you don't have any attraction or attention or bhakti. So that's why the upasana also dharana is there. This another thing, the steps are common for upasana as well as for nididhyasana. The steps are common. Only difference is upasana, it is meditation on Sagunam Brahma. Nididhyasanam is meditation on Nirgunam Brahma. So like upasana, in upasana we meditate upon a deity, chosen deity, Ishtadevata, or we meditate on something which is vast, like the sky or the ocean or even the moon or the Surya, etc. So the object of meditation one chooses according to one's liking, wishes. But that is in the case of Yoga Sutra or in Upasana. But here, when it comes to Vedanta, there, object of meditation is Advitiya Atma. It is upon oneself. It is meditation on oneself. So the source, the Atma, Brahmavastu, that is meditated upon. Meditating upon the Vakya, Mahavakyas, the meaning of the Mahavakya, or meditating upon the Atma Lakshanam. Aham Atma, Avyayaha, Satyaha, Nityaha, Buddhaha, Bodhaswarupaha, Panchakosha, Vitiriktaha, Avastatraya, Sakshi, all these can be meditated upon. Atma Lakshanam. Or meditating upon the very word Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Ananta. But in the beginning, it may be difficult to meditate. Therefore, we take up some mantra. Even when we do meditation, Vedantic meditation, we take up some mantra to start with, and then the mantra is dropped. For meditation purpose, we take simple mantra. Swamiji always used to take Om Ishaya Namaha. Ishaya Manaha is it's a mantra, but it is not for doing mantra japa. It is for meditation. That mantra is repeated for some time. It's slowly repeated. Then one has to observe the gap between the mantra. Two mantras. Ishaya Namaha, one time it's repeated, and second time, third time comes. So the gap between the two recitation, two mantra repetition should be watched. So the gap should be increased more and more, because in the gap there is silence. There is no mantra, therefore there is silence. In that silence, one has to observe the silence, because that is the silence where there are no thoughts, no vritti. Expanding that, then that is you are with yourself. So when all the thoughts, when the mind becomes absorbed, then all the thoughts it merges into silence. That is a sense of being I am. So the more and more that the gap, the silence is widened, the more and more you are absorbed in the awareness, the awareness of yourself. That is Vedantic, the concentration dharana. Therefore, Advitiya Vastu. In the gap, there is no blankness. In the gap, you are the observer of the gap. So you, without any object, the subject alone is there. Dharana. Then after Dharanam comes Dhyanam. Let us read Dhyanam. Tatra Advitiya Vastuni Vichidya.
तत्र अद्वितीयवस्तूनि विचित्य
Tatra Advitiya Vastuni Vichidya.
तत्र अद्वितीयवस्तूनि विचित्य
Antarindriya Vritti Pravagaha.
अंतरिन्द्रिय वृत्ति
प्रवाहः
Dhyanam.
ध्यानम्.
So Dhyanam is explained as Tatra Advitiya Vastuni Vichidya Antarindriya Vritti Pravagaha. So Dhyanam is uninterrupted. Is the Vichidya. Vichidya is interruption. Antarindriya Vritti Pravaha. Pravaha, the flow of Antarindriya, the mind. So the mind doesn't become steady upon the focus of upon the object of meditation by focus. So the flow of thought for focus is disturbed by other vrittis, Sajatiya vritti, Vijatiya vritti, other thoughts. So the flow of thought is interrupted. interrupted by the other thoughts. Vijatiya vritti. Sajatiya vritti, if it is there, then it is upasana. Your mind is entertaining, you entertain a similar thought in your mind. That is upasana. But if Vijatiya thoughts comes, then you have to bring the mind from the Vijatiya vritti to Sajatiya. So bringing back the mind to the object of meditation, each time it goes away. So therefore, when the mind is like that, when it is practiced, when it is able to focus steadily for a length of time, that is dhyana. But in Vedanta, we say, wherever the mind goes, there Atma is. You cannot be away from Atma. So, yeah, therefore, there can be any, therefore, you cannot complain that the disturbances causes. The disturbances causes the vikshepa. In fact, there is no disturbance. Wherever the mind goes, there Atma is, because Atma is everywhere. So you cannot be away from Atma. So wherever the mind goes, it is Atma eva. So therefore, the mind, in the case of other meditation, when the mind goes, it is brought in, and therefore it is like upasana, sajatiya vritti pravava. Whereas when it comes to Vedanta meditation, wherever the mind goes, there you see Atma. See, the mind can be never away from Atma, because Atma being everywhere, wherever the mind goes. Can mind be away from Atma? No. Therefore, appreciating the Atma in the very object of disturbance, in the whatever the disturbances be, that is dhyanam. That is dhyanam. Therefore, able to meditate for a length of time without a break. Without a break, able to appreciate Advitiya Vastu, wherever the mind goes, the mind, then it is not distracted, because the mind is not away from the object of meditation, Advitiya Vastu Brahma. It is dhyanam. Or the mind can be withdrawn also. Withdrawn and can be made to focus on made to focus on the Advitiya Vastu Brahma. That is in the form of the certain vrittis. We think about the lakshanam of the Atma, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. When the mind goes, either there itself one can appreciate Atma, or we can bring it back. So therefore, there is no complaining with regard to the scattering of the mind, at least in Vedantic meditation. We appreciate Atma wherever the mind goes. And if it is Vikshepa, it is of course it is due to Vikshepa. That is why withdrawal, with bringing back the mind. So therefore, we should know how the mind operates. Because of some Purva Samskara, because of Raga Dvesha, the mind gets distracted. So when we observe and understand the way the mind functions, and we can invoke the Atma there itself in the very object of disturbance, then one can be never away from the object of meditation. That it becomes dhyanam. By slow practice, then mind slowly withdraws to the object of meditation. There will be less and less vikshepa. So one need not complain about vikshepa. It may be more in the beginning, but when we see Atma there itself, then the vikshepa also slowly reduces, and one gains more focus and concentration, and therefore meditation, that dhyana siddhi happens in course of time. So therefore he says here, it is the tatra advitiya vastuni vichchidya vichchedam, interruption. With interruption, in the beginning it will be interruption. With the focus, the meditation upon the advitiya vastu with interruption is dhyana. Uninterruption, that becomes samadhi. When the mind becomes completely focused on the advitiya vastu, no interruption, means the mind is absorbed in the object of meditation, advitiya vastu Brahma, that is samadhi. Samyak adiyate antakaranam yasmin tat. samadhi. That is the next stage. When the dhyanam ripens, it becomes samadhi. When the dharana ripens, it becomes dhyanam. When the dhyanam ripens, it becomes samadhi. And samadhi also, we saw two types, savikalpaka, vikalpaka. When the savikalpa ripens, it becomes nirvikalpa. So this is the process. So starting from bhagya sadhana and slowly going inward, antaranga sadhana. So that is dhyanam. All this we discussed. Dhyanam, after dhyanam, there comes samadhi. And samadhi, which are three types of samadhi. Samadhi, we differ from the samadhi, which is the goal of the Yoga Shastra. Samadhi here is nididhyasanam. Can be either Brahma Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam, Brahma Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam, or Shravana Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam, or Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam. So here we are discussing about Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam. In fact, we emphasize more on Shravana Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam. The more and more Shravanam we do, continuous Shravanam, uninterrupted Shravanam, that creates samskaras, that removes the wrong knowledge. Therefore, Shravana Abhyasa. Shravanam itself becomes Abhyasa. Shravana itself becomes Nididhyasanam. The repeated Shravanam. Every day listening to the Shastra. Not every day, all the time, in fact, 24/7. That is what a sannyasi is supposed to do. No leave, no holiday for this Nididhyasanam. That is Shravana Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam. Or Brahma Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam. Or Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam. So these steps are for Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam. Or one can switch over from one Nididhyasanam to other Nididhyasanam. That is also a sadhaka can do. But all these are Nididhyasanam. So Nididhyasanam, as we saw, doesn't produce new knowledge. Knowledge is already produced in Shravanam. And that knowledge is with that knowledge, that jnanam, which is Pratibandha Sagita Jnanam, Pratibandha Jnanam is made apratibandha by Nididhyasanam, by Vedantic meditation, for which alone all these steps are followed. Starting from Yama, Niyama, Bhagya Sadhanani, and Antaranga Sadhanani, then Dharanam, Dhyanam, Samadhi. When Dhyanam ripens, it becomes Samadhi. The Dhyanam is extended for a length of time. It means the mind is focused on the object of meditation, Deya Vastu, for a long time, then becomes Samadhi, absorption, self-absorption. That is Samadhi, Nididhyasanam. That is the next topic that we will see in the next class. Om Purnamad Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha.
धन्यवाद
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
धन्यवाद शरणजी.
धन्यवाद.